Welcome, everyone. For those who are joining us here in the Gold Room of Zorn Arena and those of you tuning in on Blugolds.com. Today we have another exciting day as we add to the Blugold Athletic Department. To start things off, I'd like to welcome Chancellor James Schmidt.
Thank you. This is getting to be a great habit. You'll recall 3 months ago that I shared with you our vision for assuring that UW-Eau Claire remains strong and vibrant as an institution well into the future. There are many changes happening in the higher ed landscape right now as student demographics and the finances of individual states vary. UW-Eau Claire has been one of the top 5, in fact, we're number 4, top 5 institutions in the U.S. News & World Report rankings for more than 25 years. We want to make sure that we continue to be that vibrant institution that is well respected by our peers and very attractive to students. We also want to make sure that this institution accurately reflects our region, including its diversity and the many interests that our students have. Today's announcement really talks about us, frankly, getting up to speed with what has become the world's #1 sport, and that is soccer. Another way that we can do that is making sure that all of our athletic programs have that sport array that not only represents the sports that are of interest, but also attract that diversity of student population that is becoming more and more representative in the Eau Claire area. We want our student athletes who can participate in the sport they love and excel in their studies, whether it's in the health sciences, accounting, business, teaching, or the arts. So we announced our intention to add 3 new athletic programs earlier this year: men's baseball, women's lacrosse, and men's soccer, which will attract 100 new students to UW-Eau Claire each year. These programs not only attract student athletes, they are part of the reason why students do so well once they come to UW-Eau Claire. Our student athletes enter with an average GPA of north of 3.5, and they are retained and graduate at higher rates than our student body as a whole. Athletics is good for students and good for the university. Taking a look at 2017 to 18 retention rate, our athletes were retained at 87.9% versus the school average of just over 81. And for students of color who are also athletes, that retention rate is nearly 90% of the freshman class. So in the last several weeks, I've had the pleasure to introduce you to 2 of our 3 new coaches as promised. Charles Bolden, who leads the return of men's baseball to UW-Eau Claire. Aubrey-Ann Hilton-Newbert will be our new women's lacrosse coach. And today we're pleased to announce our 3rd successful hire for men's soccer. Soccer is the right program at the right time. We have a strong foundation in this community of soccer programs. It's the fastest growing and very popular sport, not only across the nation, but worldwide. It's a sport that attracts people from diverse backgrounds, and we want them to come and play at UW-Eau Claire. So here with the important news is our Director of Athletics, Dan Schumacher.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody watching on Bluegolds.com. It's kind of hard to follow all that. I mean, all that statistics and all that stuff, I really don't have much to add except for I want to thank Chancellor Schmidt for his leadership. Also, through this process, his confidence in our athletic department to follow through and execute the plan that is part of our enrollment initiative. I tell you what, today I was looking forward to concluding the 4-month intensity of most of our sports going at the same time, along with trying to hire 3 sports. It's been a challenge, but we are hiring our 3rd head coach in the last 30 days. The final search for the head coach for Blugold men's soccer was a unique one, I will tell you. I first want to thank our search committee. Jill Millis served on there, and Sean Yango, our women's soccer coach, and Mike Carney, our associate provost. We looked at close to 100 applicants. Just like some of the other searches, had great demand for coming here. The search landed 3 quality finalists that exuded what I always looking for, that passion, and a great understanding that what the academic mission is here at this institution and how important that is. And as the Chancellor alluded to about graduation rates and retention rates, it may not be recognized by most people, but retention rates create championships. It's bottom line. Bottom line, you retain your roster, you develop your roster, it turns into wins and championships. So, without further ado, Casey Holm showed that passion and the grasp of what we're looking for in our new men's soccer coach. Casey brought to the table the understanding and experience of both college, high school, and the AAU side, which would be the club side of soccer. He's ingrained presence in the soccer world in the tri-state area, and with his resume, it totally stuck out to us as a search committee. From his experience at St. Thomas University, where they had their best run as a soccer men's program, to winning a state title at St. Paul North High School, along with the many years of club experience and his connections from a recruiting standpoint, set his candidacy apart. So today, I am proud to announce that Casey Holm is our first men's head soccer coach at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. Welcome, Casey. Get that photo right here. Come on, closer, right in the middle there, Coach. And there we go. All right. We'll put that back. It's all yours.
There we go. Wow. Just want to thank everyone for coming today. I'm super, super excited to get this process started. I feel like it's been waiting, and finally here's the day that I get to tell everyone and get to recruit all the kids to campus. So very, very excited. I want to thank Chancellor Schmidt as well as Dan Schumacher for placing me in charge of the first ever men's soccer program, as well as the search committee. I have tons of thank yous and tons of people that I want to tell how excited I am. First off, my family. My parents basically got me started in soccer when I was super young. They're my first ever coaches. They literally fostered that passion in soccer for me. And then my brother, Cody, who literally was the first person I ever got to coach. I can remember back when I was younger thinking about wanting to coach just in the backyard, and he was my best friend and the person that I worked with. And I told my dad, I was like, hey, go coach Cody's team and then I'll help you. And then that turned into, well, I just took over the team. And then from there, everything just kind of spiraled. So I think back to my high school days. I want to thank my former high school coaches, Scott Massini and Steve Solom, who then turned over their club soccer teams to me, which led me to St. Croix, and kind of my best friend in the world, Nate Klinecki, who has really, really pushed me in the last 16 years of my coaching career and asked all those questions of me that made me who I am today. Cam Stoltz, who was my college coach and also a really good friend, he was actually the first person that told me about the UW-Eau Claire job and really urged me to apply for this. Jed Helwig and Greg Nelson, who took a chance on a 21-year-old kid at North St. Paul High School, and we had a lot of fun turning that program into a very successful program, won a state title. Would not be here without the support of John Lowry at University of St. Thomas, who gave me the last 3 years, and we had very, very successful runs making it to the NCAA tournament 3 of those years. My Western Wisconsin families, who helped build all my connections in the Midwest, as well as my St. Croix families, my friends, my colleagues, fellow coaches. To tell you guys a little bit about what we're going to do, well, right now we're going to start recruiting, like immediately. We got to fill 28 kids, and those 28 kids are going to be Blugolds through and through. They're going to work extremely hard, they're going to be passionate about the game, and they're going to give back to the community. And being part of the Midwest and being part of this community specifically in Eau Claire, I can't tell you how excited I am for them to be part of the high schools programs, as well as be part of the club scene, and then give back in just every other way possible that is allowed within their schedules. We're going to put a fun product on the field. We're going to score goals. At every level I've been at, we score goals, and scoring goals is probably the most fun thing in soccer. So we want our fans, our community, to rally around that and make sure that every kid that wants to become part of the Blugolds recognizes that we're a fun team. I would love to be extremely competitive right away, and that comes from the next year and a half that we have to recruit the right kids and put the right product on the field.
Me too.
Love it. Just really excited to meet all of you guys and get this process started as of right now. So thank you.
Coach, Jack got your telegram newspaper in town.
very much so.
So I assume you had you been looking at Eau Claire before? You're pretty familiar with the scene here?
Yeah, very much so. Growing up in Hudson, Wisconsin, always played high school here. So the club scene kind of in the Twin Cities, a lot of kids come from Eau Claire and play for us. So very, very excited about the potential of the kids here. I know on my current club team, there are kids from Eau Claire. So having those connections and bridging that gap is very, very exciting.
Did you have that Hudson Memorial rivalry when you were playing?
Very much so. Very much so. It was the best.
What was it just about this job that intrigued you?
The community here is amazing. Just the simple fact that it's a full community where it's self-contained, yet it's close enough to the Twin Cities where kids would want to be a part of it, but far enough away that they still get away from their parents. And again, I'm from here. I'm from the area, so just can't express enough how excited I am to be fully ingrained here now.
You feel a little bit more time than the other coaches to be recruiting here.
Very much so. That's a definite advantage, and I mean it's a new program, so I get to start it from scratch, and all the kids that I've already had connections with hopefully will follow that lead and believe in what we're setting here, and will come join.
What would you say are the biggest lessons you've taken from these last few years at St. Thomas?
Ooh, you gotta have the right kids. You definitely have to have the right kids, and without the right kids, you can't grow the culture that you're looking for. And winning is contagious. So when you start to win, everyone else wants to be part of that. So those are kind of the biggest lessons I learned at St. Thomas.
A bit different working with college students as opposed to working with high school students?
Very much so. I mean, it's a blend. Those college kids, they start to get into other things, and you need to make sure that they're focused and to what they are there for. But you can also get so much more out of them in terms of their athleticism and in terms of the different things you can do within the soccer game.
See Wisconsin, Minnesota's kind of being the primary recruiting base now?
At the current moment, yes, but my connections lead me to Kansas City, Missouri. A lot of connections with Sporting Kansas City. Growing up, a couple recruits out of Texas as well as Chicago area. So the Midwest, very much so, but then also I would like to open it up. My family lives currently in Colorado. My brother calls every day saying, hey, I'll go out and recruit for you tomorrow. So kind of excited about that.
Are you in close way with the UW organization in town? Are you more of a players fit the system or system fit the players?
We definitely have to have the right players to fit the system. So in terms of basically each domino that falls will fit what kind of system we're going to have to run. I don't ever say that, well, we're just going to run a 4-3-3 and that's just the way it is, because you have to be able to have the appropriate players to make it work.
Dan, you have a little more free time now that
Sure. Oh man, it's go still. I already asked him how many recruits we have already. Checking in with our baseball coach who's in attendance today, and so yeah, it's still busy. I'm glad the searches are over though. I'm glad it's time to go to work now. The real work begins. But his last quote, it's winning is contagious, and look around this campus right now. We're winning in everything, and that's what it's going to be about. That's what we're going to be about. I don't care if you're a new program. I've told this to Charles. I've told this to Casey. Told it to Aubrey. I don't care if you're a new program. We're going to be competitive. We're going to win. And I'm not very patient when it comes to, a 5-year plan, a 4-year plan. No. We have the capability, especially with our new facility coming online, from a soccer standpoint especially. How you couldn't recruit to Eau Claire and get the best kids in the Midwest to come play Division III soccer here instead of going somewhere else, maybe into some cornfield, some southern school in the southern part of the state, that this is a more attractive place for a student athlete in general. It doesn't matter if it's baseball, soccer, football, wrestling, whatever successful sport we got going on. It just should continue to monopolize, in my opinion. But yeah, it's busy, but it's a good busy. Wouldn't do anything else.
So what you expected when you came into this process?
Are you talking about 6 years ago, or are you talking about right now? Yeah.
When you started this, the announcement of 3 sports, you mentioned that. You knew it was going to be another
I told the chancellor, I said, I've had experience in sport expansion both at the D1 and D2 level, but that was only one at a time, and it was spaced out. This presents itself. It's a challenge. It puts a lot of pressure on Robin Baker and Nancy Hendricks and Amanda Hopkins and the whole administrative staff, Jill. Again, now that the 25 sports are in place and 800 athletes, it's a task. It's a task, and you have to be on top of it. Today we had NCAA call for hockey, and last week it was basketball, and now we're getting ready to host 2 hockey first rounds or preliminary rounds. So, yeah, it's busy, and this just adds to it. But hey, that's what athletics is for. And that's what summers are for. Anybody complains on this campus that they don't get worked too hard, well, you get summers. You get a little downtime on summers. So, and that's what I look forward to. Work now 7 days a week, and then you get your time back then.
Big day for you guys.
Really big day for us. It's good for the university. It really is. It showcases exactly, Tanya's here, and she played. I told this to the chancellor just the other night. All I've ever asked of every head coach is, if we're playing for a championship, you're doing your job. You are. And, sometimes you get in the NCAA tournament, and sometimes you don't. Right now, all of our teams are playing for something, and that means they're playing for a championship. Either it was a conference championship, or it's an NCAA championship, or individual championships. Track and field and wrestling, and And I like the way our tennis team looks. I like the way our golf team looks right now going into spring, and softball's working on some things. So yeah, it just continues, and I think one sport elevates the other. Having hockeys and basketballs doing what they're doing, and track and field, the consistency of that program, I think I think it motivates other programs. I can guarantee you Sean's excited about having men's soccer here, and he's also happy because he shares a row of offices with Coach Fader, who's at the Nationals. Look at our wrestling program. Took 4th in the region. That's the highest in school history ever, with the most qualifiers. We're right behind Whitewater, Augsburg, lacrosse. We're in that grouping that has a chance to win a national championship. So it's about, all 25 doing well and encouraging and supporting each other, which is what our coaching staff does very well.